there's a lot of people, like, for example, in their 30s right now, I mean, the 40s, watching this and that are interested in investing. You know?
Hmm.
Is now a good time to invest? And if somebody were to have money, let's say 50K in the bank, they have a good job and good credit, what would you suggest that they do with the money?
I think right now is a great time to invest because the interest rates are so low.
Mm-hmm.
So borrowing money, even on long term, 10 years terms, it's still really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need as much cash down to buy a bigger property.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a great time for that. In terms of investment, 50K, as long as my first reaction would be to do a stress test on the property. If what I mean by that is if the interest rates go up by a few points, to make sure that you're still covering the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I would definitely, when you buy a passive income like this, and you look at the way I look at it, it's saying, look, I have 32 people living in my building that's going to work to pay my mortgage, right?
Yeah,
So you don't get rich quick with real estate, but you create wealth over time.
definitely.
And if you know how to leverage and mortgages your properties, over time you'll do well.
Okay. Would you suggest that they start maybe with a two-door, a four-door, like a single home as a
Um,
rental?
a single as like for me, the stage that I am in my career, I would say, 8 units or 30 units is the same amount of work.
Okay.
So first you have to understand if you want to manage your own properties, because the call comes at midnight. There's no hot water. If you're managing, you have to get up
Yeah.
and figure it out, right? So it's not as easy as it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
On paper it looks, oh, it's great, but when it's below 40 and pipes are frozen, and there's a lot of work to be put in, right? So um, it depends. If you have a good job and you don't want to take care of it, I would definitely look at trying to get the property managed by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on how much cash you have to, how much equity
Yeah.
that you have, how many doors you want to buy, what's your long term goals,
Yes, exactly. So with COVID, so right, like, the positive side you're saying right now is that the interests are low. People, it's easier to maybe it's easier to
Mm.
borrow depending on the situation of the person. But in the next 2 years or so, do you see that the trend keeps going the same as with the interest rates?
Well, I think the interest rates are going to slowly raise a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. We saw lately there was the first time in 7 years, I think they went up a few points.
Okay.
I think the stress test is going to be harder. The banks are going to be tougher on lending money.
Mm-hmm.
But of all the assets in real estate, I would say that multi-residential and industrials are the only two assets that will not that the market is not going to soften us on it. It was not going to slow down
So
because
COVID will not impact these two.
no, because people still have to rent. They still
Yeah.
have to live somewhere. I think it's the safest
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
asset that you can find, and it shows when the bank when they're landing, they're landing on multi-residential. The cap rate they're using, it's a lot lower than it would be a retail property because there's less risk for them to lend money. So I think, and don't forget, like real estate, especially residential income properties, over time, we say anything ugly in real estate gets fixed over time. So over time, if the location is good, you're gonna do well eventually.